Hi, welcome back. My name is Rachel and I am an artist. And today I'm going to be showing you a painting, almost dropped it, a painting I did of the coneflower for my bee series. I love this plant. I have it in my garden. And this is a picture that I took of a bee on my plant. And I'm going to be, showing you the time lapse of this painting and how it came together and giving you some fun, wonderful facts about coneflowers and how they are beneficial for our pollinators and our bees. And because, if we don't have pollinators, then we don't have food. So very important to plant, native and also plant pollinator friendly stuff just so, they have food. And let's get into that time lapse. I'm going to be giving you fun facts from my trusty dusty handy dandy notebook and giving you a thought process behind this wonderful painting. So enjoy, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Coneflowers are a great flower to have in your garden. I love them, and I have them right underneath my roses, adding just a pop of color below the blooms above. They come in a few different colors: pinks, oranges, reds, yellows, and purples. These flowers work in zones 3 to 9, and depending on what species, they could be between 2 to 5 feet tall and 1.5 to 2 feet wide. They like full sun but may tolerate some shade, especially if you are in a southern climate where it is super hot in the afternoon and some much needed shade is welcome. These usually start to bloom from June to August, depending on the species. When planting, it is best to plant in spring or early fall. If you're going to plant them by seed, plant them in loose soil 12 inches deep with 2 to 3 inches of compost on top. They take about 3 to 4 weeks to germinate, and you'll start seeing flowers, I think, around 12 weeks. These flowers will reseed themselves, so deadhead if you do not want them to. They do not reseed rapidly, so you won't be overloaded with flowers, but it is good to just let them be, Coneflowers attract not only bees, but butterflies, hummingbirds, and songbirds too. The flower not only feeds the pollinators, but the flower heads provide seeds for the birds in the fall and winter. These plants can also be divided, which is great if you are on a budget. One plant can turn into 2, 3, maybe even 4. Every 4 years, you dig them up and you can separate the clumps, and then you'd have a nice little trio. Coneflowers are native to North America and were discovered by the Native Americans. They were used medicinally for tooth pain, respiratory tract infections, and snake bites. This painting, I love it so much, but it did not start that way. I started painting and drawing the main flower, and that was yeah, okay, I'm doing it. It's coming out great. I started painting the background and adding detail, but also trying to keep it loose so the leaves wouldn't be the main focus, the flower would be. I tried then moving on to the additional 2 flowers to the left of the painting, and I was not feeling it. So I went back to doing the leaves, and then I started focusing on making sure that there was a depth and that there was some dimension, but also you can tell that you're in a 3-dimensional space. It stayed that way for quite a while, and then I decided, no, let me really get into it. Let me go back, let me figure out the colors of the leaves. I would think that was what was throwing me off, was that I was trying to make sure that the leaves in the sunlight were bright and vivid versus the cool tones from the shade from above. Once I started to do the leaves and give it my all and focus on it, I was like, okay, they're coming out pretty cute. But then I went back in and I was doing the actual cone part of the coneflower. I think that is what I had the most anxiety over, and I don't know why. There's always one part of a painting that I just get so anxious over, and I always leave it to the end and I wait, and I'm like stressing over this one part. And honestly, that's probably why I don't finish a bunch of paintings, and I have to go back when I'm in a certain mind space, because one part of this painting will always just, I don't know, it's like, I don't know if I can do that, I don't know if it's going to turn out okay, and it kind of makes me like, crazy. But I went back in, I worked on the colors and made sure they were nice and vivid, and then I started doing the cone part. Originally I was just going to leave it with the orange, and I started doing the bee. I made sure I had the bee done. I went back in and I went to the orange, like the little parts that come out of the main cone center, where I guess they get the seeds and the pollen from. Because I had just painted orange thinking that would be enough, and I didn't like it. It made everything look very flat, and it made it look unfinished. So I went back in and I started adding some yellow for the highlights, some burnt and raw umber for shadow parts, and making it look more three-dimensional, like not like little orange tiny lines. And that made a world of difference. And with the green that I painted underneath, with having a lighter green on one side and the darker green, it also helped give it that three-dimensional look. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. They're not perfect, but art is not meant to be perfect. And I like how the bee is just sitting on the coneflower, and he's ready to, or I should say she is ready to take that pollen and go back to her sisters and, make more honey and nectar for the next generation of bees. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about coneflowers, and I will see you next time. Bye.